Good day, my name is Alex Tursky. I'm the founder of the Internet Frontier project. And today I'm going to give you a short introduction into the subject of post platforms. And I will explain why do we need them and how will they help to overcome all the issues we have with platforms. With platforms, you may ask? Yes. Platforms are great innovations. They came to our life around 10 years ago and we like them. We like to communicate through Facebook, we like to book hotels with Booking.com, we like to chat through different messengers, we like to use taxi with Uber, and here in Netherlands we like to sell stuff through Marktplaats or to buy houses through Funda, or we like car sharing technologies, dating, etc. And I myself, I also made a platform with my colleagues. It's called Easy Travel. It's the biggest audio guide in the world. So in thousands of museums and thousands of cities in this world, you can get free guided tours. So most of the stuff is for free and it's really great. So platforms were great innovation. But with all these great things platforms brought to us, we started to realize that they also bring some problems. And the first one to experience these problems are we, users. So what are these problems? For example, I have to remember all these platforms. I have to remember which platform is the best for sharing video or for getting taxi or to chatting with my friends. And I really have to remember with who of my friends I communicate through which platforms, through Skype or through Facebook, through LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. It becomes a little bit annoying. And also, as a result of that, I have to keep too many logins and passwords. I think I have around 200 of them at the moment, and some people do think it's a problem. And platforms have control over me. They can ban me without explanations. Just yesterday, Facebook banned some of my messages and Facebook informed me, sorry, it's not allowed. Well, I don't agree with Facebook, but what can I do with its artificial intelligence? But also Facebook controls what I read about my friends. I have many friends, they post many messages, and it is up to Facebook to decide what I can read, what I cannot read. I think it's getting a little bit too far. Another issue is that when I publish something on a platform, theoretically it belongs to me, especially according to GDPR law, whatever, but essentially it's not. If I publish something on YouTube or on Facebook, and if tomorrow YouTube or Facebook disappears, I will not get anything. So actually this data and content which I put there, it doesn't technically belong to me. And as a result, I'm hooked with platforms. I belong to them. So if I buy hotels with Booking.com, most probably I'll have to continue. But with Facebook or Instagram, I have friends there. So if I leave Instagram and switch to another platform, I lose all my connections, all my likes, dislikes, groups, posts, etc. I cannot just carry it to another platform, at least not all of it. So essentially, platforms own us. They own our digital lives. And don't think it's not important, because essentially our life is not in physical representation of this life. Our life mostly happens in our minds, in our digital world. It was Yuval Harari who said it first. He said, guys, if you look from the space on the earth, well, you'll not see borders of the countries, but they do exist. And if you look at the company, what is company? He says that company is nothing. Company exists in our mind. Some people come to some office, do some job, but what is company? It's just some legal documents. So essentially we people, we live mostly in the world of our agreements, of our dreams, of our ideas. And our ideas and our dreams and our contracts, everything now belongs to... And our dreams, our ideas, our beliefs, like money, for example, it all now in computers, in digital form. So essentially, our real life now is not in the real world. Our real life now is in digital form. So don't think it's not important. It is important who controls your digital life. Well, so as I said, we belong to platforms. And we are spread among these platforms, so our data doesn't belong to us. If we zoom out a little bit and look at the problem at a bigger scale, we will not see many bullets. We see practically, I think, only one bullet, which is monopoly of platforms. This is the issue. Monopoly of platforms has consequences. One is high entry fee for any new platform. So if you want to launch a new platform, like Instagram or whatever, it will cost you. You have to invest at least $1 billion in order to compete with leaders like Facebook. As a result, we have overestimation of their capitalization. Capitalization of Facebook is now $1 trillion. It's a little bit ridiculous, and it's an indicator that something goes seriously wrong. Well, and where this value of this $1 trillion come from? It comes from amount of users. So investors, they just take amount of users any platform has, multiplied by $100, and that's it. That's capitalization of your platform. So investors are not interested to know what is functionality of your platform, what services you deliver. They're interested how many users you have. Actually, this is clear indication of the real digital slavery. Yeah, how many slaves do you have? As a result of monopoly is stagnation. And stagnation means that Facebook, I'm using Facebook, but it could be applied to many other platforms. So Facebook was not changed for the last 5 years or so, and probably it will not change for the next 50 years. Why bother? Everything is fine. It has people, they cannot leave it, that's it. So why do they need to develop it further? And finally, overall control is in hands of corporations, and some of these corporations are larger than some states. So now it's not only concern of people, it's concern of public, of politicians. Something goes wrong with platforms. So everybody thinks, what should we do with it? And if you look at a person who publishes on different platforms, usually he thinks, okay, I publish on these 10 platforms. But imagine if you have a situation when user has all his or her data on her own server here, and then this girl, she publishes just on one place, and then it somehow in magic way goes to all platforms. That's what we need ideally, that data belongs to us, and then it goes to platforms, to whatever platforms it needs to go. Everybody is thinking about it, but nobody knows how to do it. Today I'm going to present you a very simple idea how it will be done, and actually we are about to start a business about it. But let's first start with the history. I'm going to present you 3 slides about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. Web 1 is history. It's web technology which was invented in beginning of 90s by Tim Berners-Lee. The guy invented web server and web browser. You know how it works. You publish it once here, and any user can read what you publish on your web server. It was a great invention comparing to the paper, and we loved it very much in 90s. Then, 10 years later, amount of web service became too big. Some companies even started to publish, I remember this yellow pages of internet book, so that you can find the right server. It went a little bit too far. We do not need so many web servers, and at some moment I realized that people don't like it when I found that some Italian museums, instead of having web server, they had just a page on Facebook. It was enough for them. So essentially, platforms, they addressed this issue of having too many platforms. They said, well, guys, publish it on only my server. It's enough. Yes, it probably doesn't provide you all flexibility, it's a little bit standardized, but it's okay, then I will aggregate it all and present to people in a great way. So platforms won, and it became Web 2 technology, you might call it this way. And it was absolutely great. I already explained that, platforms are fantastic and you know it yourself. But then we started to experience the other type of problems. For example, this publisher, he or she can be banned by, one of the platforms, and then you'll not be able to publish anymore. Another issue is that this publisher has to publish on different platforms, on LiveJournal, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, and to publish it many times, well, it's inconvenient. But also inconvenience is on this side, because these people, they cannot communicate from one platform to another. It's a red line between them, and platforms do watch this red line so that you can send message from here to here. It's a little bit inconvenient. Okay, so what do we suggest? We suggest to cut it in this way. And if I cut it this way, and I push the service to the public, to people who actually publish this information, then I can create something which is much better. And of course I will have to connect all this service with all these platforms. I will call it Solid protocol. Actually the Solid was invented by, again, the same guy, Tim Berners-Lee. 30 years ago he invented web. 20 years ago he invented so-called linked data. You probably never heard about it. But the logical consequence of linked data is this technology called Solid. From my side, I came exactly to the same idea, but not from linked data. I came from my thinking about issues with platforms. So independently, me and Tim Berners-Lee and many other people, I believe, came exactly to the same idea. We have to split content from platforms. And as a result, we have a kind of three-layer structure: solid servers, platforms, and web browsers. And here, between servers and platforms, we have machine-readable protocol, Solid. Why machine-readable? Let me give you an example. If you develop web server in good old Web 1 technology, it's like growing a tree. You have one branch with information about the company, another branch with your product, another branch with your services. And I mean, you have many branches, pages on your web server, and you do it the way you want. So if you look at all web servers in the world, you see a kind of forest where every tree is absolutely unique. So you'll not find similar web server. As a result, if you want to study many companies and many organizations or people, you have to read manually every web server. It is inconvenient. Imagine that it will be standardized. So every specific page of web server is standardized. For example, about the company, it is on the About the Company HTML web page, or our service is on the page called ourservice.html, whatever. So if you have highly standardized web server, exactly like platforms like to do, then you'll have trees in this forest which are exactly the same. So if you come to such a forest, it will look very organized. All trees are the same style, same branches at the same angle, and with one side you can see millions of these trees, or billions. And that's the idea behind Solid. So only computers, only programs like platforms can read such server. People cannot do it because they will not understand it. So it's very machine-readable language connected to linked data ideas. But you don't have to dive into it. You just have to remember it's very specified, standardized content type. Okay, so if we have the situation, we have a situation when any platform can read any Solid server, and that changed it all. Let's see how it changed the life of platforms. Well, from this side, their business will not be changed. The way how they earn money, it will stay. But on the left side, each platform will have access to the same set of Solid servers. Yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram, Booking.com, Facebook, they have access to the same service. And it means that there will be zero market entry barrier for any newcomer, because now to build a new Facebook you have to have $1 billion, as I said, but with the new system you have to have $0. You just come to the market, on the next day you have access to billions of people. That's very convenient. As a result, the competition will be changed. Platforms will compete not in amount of users, because amount of users is the same. They will compete only in functionality. And that means they will start to compete in functionality, and that means innovation. So they will innovate different artificial intelligent functionality, voice-based assistants, whatever. Let them do it. And we just have to create the situation when they are forced to innovate, not just to slave people and their digital identities. Well, in a way, it will return capitalization of platforms to something reasonable. $1 trillion capitalization is probably not reasonable, but billion, probably it's okay. So market will become stable, good old capitalism market as it was before. On this side, it will also initiate some changes. For example, it will be every platform will realize that it's in very competitive market, and in order to compete, platforms will have to expand their services. Now it's very difficult. For example, if you are Booking.com, it's very difficult to start serve the home rentals like Airbnb does, or it's difficult to go to communication. But now it will be easy. Any platform can enter any segment of the market easily, because all the suppliers will be available like that. Well, they all will extend services, so probably coming in the future, when you come in the future to Instagram, you will be able to buy stuff there, to sell your car, to communicate with your friends, whatever you want. So they will become more universal. Yeah, it's fun. And there will be changes for people who publish and people who read. And these changes will be dramatic. First one is that actually users will own their data finally. It will be on their own precious solid server. And people will just publish content, not publish on specific platform. So if you publish your post for your friends, you will not think what platforms will publish it, because your friends may see your content through any platform they wish. You don't care about it. You just publish, you just share with the world anything you want to share, and you don't care who will use it. Also, it will be a big change in the rating, because now any platform you use, they have rating about you. You probably don't think about it, but this rating belongs to them. If you deal with Uber, with taxi, they keep rating how good are you as a passenger or as a driver. Facebook keeps rating of you, how many times they ban you, or how many times you violated some rules, whatever. Every platform keep rating about you. Now with the system, they will have to return this rating to you. You will control it on your own server. And some people are a little bit afraid of all these ratings, but we cannot avoid it. They are already collected. They are collected by insurance companies, by banks, by governments. For example, in China, it all belongs to government. So you have only three choices. Do you want it to belong to the government, like in China? Do you want it to belong to corporations, like in America and Europe? Or do you want it to belong only to you, so that you control it and you may show it, you may not show? Well, be aware, you'll not be able to change it. So whatever rating comes to your solid server from any platform, you'll not be able to change it. It will be like blockchain. Of course, it will be not blockchain, because blockchain is stupid technology. We can do it much better with cryptography, but you'll not be able to change. And it means that to be a good person for the very first time, it will be economically effective, because if you have good rating and you are not afraid to share it, it means that your resume will be more popular. If you provide some services like translation or babysitting, or you repair computers, your service will be more popular if you have good rating. So invest in your rating and you'll get the better results on the market, whatever you do in this world. So that will be a very powerful change. Also, from this side, readers, they can access content through any platform, very convenient. As a result, they can change platforms. Today I check all posts of my friends through Facebook, tomorrow I do it through Instagram or LinkedIn, who cares? And it will improve our communication, because people will not be afraid to send a message to a person. They will not have to think, should I send it through Skype or through LinkedIn? It doesn't matter, you just send a message to a person, exactly like you do with your good old email. Do you think how your friend will read the email? Through Outlook or Gmail? Who cares? You just send email. It will come to the good old email style of communication with all the messages. You'll send it through Facebook, your colleague will receive it through Skype, or through WhatsApp, or through Instagram. It doesn't matter. So it will be a lot of dramatic changes here, and I'm sure I don't see all of them. So that's why we share it with you and invite you to think about it. Okay, what are the implications of post platforms in general? In general, there will be two layers of implication. One is if you look at it from the industry point of view, exactly like www, post platforms could be applied to anything. For example, to banks. It can dramatically change the business of the banks. Or accommodation. Now hotels are suffering from Booking.com. They'll be able to get free of it and sell it almost directly to people without Booking.com, without paying 20% to it. E-commerce, it will be changed. So some Chinese producer of this stick or computer or whatever, this producer will not have to go to Amazon or to AliExpress and agree with them on something. Such producer will just publish the stuff they produce on their solid server, and the next day trucks come to the facility and pick up all the stuff and deliver it. And this producer of goods, somewhere in China or South Africa or America, they will not even think, they will not even know who actually sells their stuff. They don't care. Internet of Things. Your car will have its own solid server, which will collect all information about all repairs, about all things happen to your car, or your plane, or your ship, or yacht, or your refrigerator. So in a way it will be a kind of black box, which knows everything about your ship for 50 years. And that's great because it will be easy to maintain a lot of stuff you have. Medical records. Well, you think that your medical records are only in hospital? Not only. Your smartwatch sends information to Apple or any producer or Samsung. You don't even know where your data is. And we have a lot of funny stories about what happened after that. I think you would like that your medical records are kept at some place under your control. Even if it comes from a watch or any other gadget or from any hospital, any doctor, it should come to your own solid server. And that will be changed. So all your personal stuff should be with you. Right now you keep your photographs on, I don't know, on Instagram, on Google Picasso, on your hard disk drive. Well, I think you will keep it all on your solid server. Probably it will be in the clouds, but it will be just one place. It will be very convenient. Open publishing. We have a big issue in science that scientists still, after 20 years of development of platforms and internet, or 30 years, they still cannot access freely all content in the world because we have publishing houses between them. And in the world of post platforms, every scientist will have his or her own solid server and publish his or her articles on this solid server, and then everybody will be able, through some platforms, to access it for free. So we will address this issue of open publishing, and we're already working with several universities about this problem. And it's not only about science, it's also about music, video, the same stuff. So it was about different industries. But post-platforms will have more significant consequences at the more fundamental level. For example, electronic passports. Electronic passport, technically we know how to do it. We know about asymmetric cryptography for 40 years already, 50 years already, and we know how to set up a system where you not have to keep all these logins, passwords at all. But we didn't have a system which is big enough to move the whole society towards these electronic passports, so-called certificates. And post-platforms can do it. So you'll get your certificate or electronic passport at mobile operator office or at bank office or notary office, and then you'll use it everywhere. So it will be just one device. For example, it will be cryptography SIM card. It's called mobile ID, or some kind of USB fob, or it probably will be under your skin, some kind of chip. And then with this crypto engine, you will unlock any doors in the world. You'll get money from the bank, from bank machine. You will send your contracts. You will send your emails. You will get to any platform. It will be very convenient life. Electronic voting. We will not have anymore any arguments about whether Mr. Trump won or didn't win. And actually, it will be easy to organize all votings because of these electronic passports. And then we'll have a world where any discussions could be ended in one day. We just ask people to vote and we will get it. Of course, there will be big implications towards security. And security goes together with post-platforms. Essentially, most of web services, web technology, FTP, email, and other stuff, most of the things, including internet itself, they were invented without security in mind. So we invent internet, and after that we start to think about VPNs or IPsec and other technologies. It's a little bit strange and silly. Actually, for the first time, I would like that we invent these post-platforms and solid protocols with security in mind from the very beginning. If we do it this way, we will not have to deal with it afterwards and again create these logins, passwords, etc. It will be completely different level of security. It will be less hacker attacks and other troubles will be gone. Electronic money. I have a separate video about electronic money. You can watch it. But general idea is that we will not have to ask, banks or somebody else to transfer money for us. We'll just transfer money from my solid server to your solid server because there will be cryptography involved, and it could be done very easily. So people will exchange electronic money just like they now exchange cash. Very easy, but transparent. E-karma. Well, it's funny word karma, probably it will be a different word, but it's about rating, and we spoke about ratings with you. So ratings will significantly change our way of life. So we will carry our rating from the school, from university, from interaction in our company, with our clients, from all the platforms. So finally, we will carry on our credibility with us through our whole life. Definitely it will affect issues like security, it will be less criminal things, etc. And as I said, you will control it. If you don't want to show it, you don't show it, but you'll not be able to change it. Change from consumer to prosumer. Now we have a consumer society, but actually a lot of people already now, they start to work on their own. I can sit with your baby, I can repair your car or whatever, but it's not clear how to publish such services. And in this new world, it will be very easy. You just publish on your own solid server and any platform will continue. For example, I have some tools, or I can rent out my car to my friends or neighbors, whatever. I want to sell this table. I can do it very easily, and I'll say, yeah, I'm ready to sit with your child if it's just around 200 meters from my house. So people will start to use the service from their neighbors around them. So we'll finally come back to the relations people had in villages 1,000 years ago, when everybody knew who can provide what kind of service. So we'll come back to it, but we'll come back at the new E level. And finally, we will really push forward people towards this independent provision of services. So, for example, notaries, they will not have to sit together in one office of some notary company. Well, if you are a good notary and you have a good karma rating, you can do it on your own. Why do you need company for that? Well, so it will be a big change towards this prosumer model, when people will consume and produce something at the same time. So finally we'll have digital self-freedom, which is very convenient, and that's, as I said in the very beginning, we live in the world of ideas, and these ideas become digital, so it will finally belong to us, not to dozens of platforms where we are spread. So in the very end, it will be a world without middlemen, which is very convenient. As I said, if you produce something, you will not need to agree with middleman platform how to sell your stuff. You just publish it, and all these platforms, they will run after you because they will compete with each other in the desire to sell you. So middlemen, they will stay platforms, but they will become less important, and they will not block direction between you as a producer with your clients. Okay, now you see the complete picture, and you may ask yourself, well, how can we implement it? Why do we think that Facebook or Booking.com or Instagram or Uber will follow these rules? Why should they use this solid technology? They will refuse it. Of course they will. But we are not going to ask them when we implement it. We are going to use the power of other stakeholders. So we have large platforms, and these platforms will be definitely against this innovation. But on the other side, we have many other organizations and stakeholders who will be pro. For example, second-rate platforms. Well, we have YouTube, we have Uber, but we have hundreds of other smaller platforms which are behind them, and who want to also get their share on the market. These guys will be very happy. And they will be supported by different investors who say, oh yeah, finally we can start with new platforms, let's do it. It's quite powerful force. Also, there are a lot of big businesses who were never ever allowed to the world of platforms. Banks and mobile operators are example. Both banks and mobile operators, they have very narrow margin. They see all this, huge capitalization of great platforms, but they cannot participate in it. Now we will invite in this business, and even more, we will use banks and mobile operators to implement solid server at millions and billions of people, of users. We have a separate video how we are going to do it. Also, there are businesses which are suffering from platforms. Hotels. Hotels give to Booking.com from 15 to 25% of their revenue. It's a huge amount of money. Hotels are extremely unhappy. I know it because I participate in many travel conferences. Hotels are suffering. So if somebody comes to them and say, guys, we can address your issue, we can remove this bottleneck of Booking.com, you'll be independent and any platform will sell your rooms and compete with each other, hotels will be more than happy. And in this project, we'll use power of other businesses like ERP systems. I have separate video on that, and they will become very important player here. And finally, we have public and institutions. We have universities, citizens, politicians, opinion leaders, mass media. All these guys, they will like it. So altogether, the power of all these stakeholders is much larger than power of very big, but just few platforms. And I think that's the way how we're going to implement it. We are going to leverage all these powers. Well, that's all I wanted to tell you today. And this introduction, it doesn't cover all questions you might have. And please come to us, let's discuss. We found our investor, we are going to launch business now, and we need smart people with good ideas from public sector, from university sector, from business sector. Come to us, let's do it together. This is completely open project which will use open standards like Solid or other standards, and we can do it only together. Thank you very much and talk to you later.